What is up, everyone? Welcome to Toffee Blues USA, your source for all things Everton, American style. Gerry Gibson here from you, recorded from Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Joining me is I don't know if it's a first time, long time. That's what they say on the sports shows. Somebody who's been following the show for a long time, normally just contributes a lot. And finally, we've managed to drag him kicking and screaming onto the show. So everybody, I don't want to blow it. And can you turn around and show them who you are? Oh my God, it's Bowsey Toffee Tits, everybody. Holy shit.
Hey, Gerry.
Aaron Free, he has a real name. We can't call him Bowsey Toffee Tits all day long. All right. But so for the people who are listening via podcast, you were unable to see him. He turned around and revealed the fact that he got it on the back of one of our Black Watch kit. So actually, Bowsey Toffee Tits on the back. He took the plunge. Aaron Free is his real name. Aaron, thank you so much for coming on, man.
Thanks for having me. Honestly, it's a pleasure. Been a big fan of the show for a few months now. It's I have no idea how, but I managed to stumble across it. And as you alluded to, the deepest, darkest depths of the internet, which is Reddit. And Toffee Blues had posted a few times, hey guys, have you got any questions, blah, blah. And that kind of really just introduced me to the whole Toffee Blues in the USA. And it's just kind of spiraled from there. I'm like, it sucked me in. Honestly, I can't escape it now. I had 2 followers on Twitter, and it was mostly I used Twitter to complain about FedEx deliveries not arriving, and Icelander for not giving us back a refund last year. So yeah, that was it. I then started following all these Everton accounts and Everton people, and then everything's just blown up. And then Orlando happened, and it was just like, wow, I actually genuinely didn't know how huge of a fan base we had over here until I discovered you guys, really. So wow. Thank you.
So for those of you who maybe this is your first time, listening or watching what we're doing here, for those of you out there, maybe it's your first time, Aaron started submitting questions for our mailbag segment, and his handle Bowsey Toffee Tits got my attention immediately because I am at heart a 13-year-old boy, and I thought it was hilarious, and I was like, my God, this is the best one. And so he kept contributing questions, and they were like really well thought out, and I was like, wow, this is insightful stuff. This guy's not just an amazing handle maker, So that kind of, and we had actually planned on getting up and hanging out, right?
Indeed. Yeah.
And of course, my plans took me elsewhere, which kind of sucked, kind of didn't. What do you do? But you were able to go, yeah.
Yes, and I mean, I think everyone that you've spoke to so far since has said it was one of the best weekends ever. I second, I third, I fourth that, because it was it was just amazing. We had a bit of a hiccup heading down. Our flight got cancelled on the Friday night, so we're like, oh no. So we ended up having to stay in Detroit with one of my wife's cousins, and then we ended up getting an early flight to Orlando. But we had tickets to water park booked. We had like all this kind of fun stuff to do that kind of got brushed to the side, so to speak. But then as the day went on, things just started falling into place. We get to the Harp and Celt. Farouche from San Diego Toffees gave me this big, massive hug. I wasn't even in the bar yet. He just seen me wearing my Black Watch top. He was with his kid, just gave me a big hug. I was like, yes, this is what I came for. And then you swung open the Heart and Silk door, and it was just like toffee heaven. And yeah, it was brilliant. That was the best thing about that weekend, was that welcome party night in the Harp and Celt.
So name drop some of these Twitter legends that and famous
Jeff
Everton
Wallner.
people. Who now?
So Jeff Wallner from Cincinnati. He I bought him a beer. Don't think he bought me one back, but it doesn't matter. It was still good. Good to meet him. we were sat upstairs in the balcony bit, and so actually Kyle Clayton from Michigan Evertonians, he's moved to North Carolina, Winston-Salem. You've got to give this boy like at least a.
I think he's doing some kind of work for Stumptown, which is a North Carolina pro club. So Kyle, need to get up with you because I do like this. I've done like the same stuff for a team. All right. So we should totally talk at some point, but I'm too shy to reach out to you on Twitter. So yeah, Kyle, just saying that I can do it here, but I don't know what's wrong with me. A lot. But anyway, so cool guy, very cool. All right. So did you know him beforehand?
Kind of. I did a roll call for any Michigan Evertonians going to Orlando, and he was the only one that put his hand up and said, "Yeah, I'm going." So then we started following each other, blah blah blah. And then he tapped me on the shoulder while I was up in the balcony. He was just like, "Is that your Twitter handle on the back of your shirt?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "I'm Kyle." So that was funny. And then Jake walked up the stairs. He had his little backpack on, and I looked at him. I was like, "Jake Houghton?" He was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Bowsey Toffee Tits?" He was like, "Oh my god!" And then just like hugged it out at the top of the stairs. It's just things like that. And then Toffees and Chains from Virginia. He was up. We got a few pictures. I think he dropped a picture in the retweet of the podcast that my sister done. But yeah. So, and then who else? I'm trying to remember who else. There was so many people that like I met over the weekend, but it feels like a blur. But it was just seriously kudos to the Orlando Toffees. They put on a serious show. So thanks to them because that was awesome. And Everton need to defend the Florida Cup, correct?
Yeah.
So hopefully next year, you never know. Orlando 2022.
Yeah, who knows who we're playing this time?
I know, right?
Tampa Bay Rowdies, maybe somebody just. It's hard to say. Could be anyone.
I think everyone was going, "Oh, it's got to be Miami City. It's got to be like Orlando as well." But they were playing MLS games that week, so it was like no chance they were going to get involved. So, but yeah, that was then the game itself. Was sat with Kyle and his girlfriend and my two cousins that came. I managed to convince to come down with me. Not soccer fans whatsoever, but they still had the time of their lives. So that was fun. I think they've got Everton in their heads like 24/7 now. So
good. They should.
It's a simple but poignant chant, let's just say.
Awesome. Well, that is that's awesome. That's what I expected to hear, but it's still really cool to hear it. So excited.
Yeah, that was brilliant.
So clearly you are from Michigan. You sound the Michigan thick accent. It's very strong.
Toledo. I'm actually from Ohio. Toledo.
Oh, Toledo.
You're close. Yeah.
It's, I mix those up so often. The Toledo Michigan accents.
It's that borderline, right? Okay, so the thick accent's from Glasgow. So Glasgow, Scotland, my hometown. My mum's side of family are all from Liverpool, hence why I was born blue blood. So my granddad, Free, RIP, used to take me to the games when I was very young. For a good 10 years, we would always, whenever we head down to Liverpool, there would always be a game on. He'd always take us to a game. So it was kind of really ingrained. And when I say all of my family, all of that side of the family are Everton fans, they are literally all Everton fans. There's not a single red in that. So, and you ask any of my friends and that, like, I'm like diehard Evertonian. So it's pretty bad. It's pretty annoying. I don't know how my wife puts up with it every Saturday, Sunday. Like when I like either I'm in an extremely good mood when we win, or I'm just in this depressive like, ugh.
Yeah.
I mean,
nothing about life is good right now.
I know. But hey, things to smile about this season so far, so that's all right.
That's true. So we are literally checking off all my questions on the list, and you're just getting to them. It's like it's like you've almost seen the list, and you haven't. So really quick, just out of curiosity, what do you do? What's your daytime life or nighttime life? Like, what do you do for work, or do you just basically walk the earth like Kang in Kung Fu.
That is what I do. Yep, you nailed it. How did you know that? It's almost like you knew the answer. You're reading my mind. No, I am an I'm an intelligent transport systems engineer.
How could I not have just guessed that? It's written all over your face.
Yeah.
What is it? So explain that to some. Pretend I'm a 5-year-old.
Okay.
No, actually, let's say 12. 5 would take too long, I think.
So all the kind of technology that goes on your kind of arterial and freeways in the States, where you've got CCTV cameras, variable message signs that tell you, I know, roads are closed or speed limits to go, like just basically something to inform the customer, but also like maintaining traffic operations and whatnot on the freeways and whatnot. That's the kind of stuff I design for a multidisciplinary engineering company that's kind of global. So, it's good. It's good fun. I enjoy it. It's been quite the experience working from the UK to the US for sure.
How did was it the job?
Time.
Was it the job that made you move?
Yes, initially, and then my wife is actually from Michigan, so we met in Thailand in 2015, and then she came and stayed with me in Scotland for like a year and a half, 2 years. Then we did the whole long distance thing, and then this opportunity came up in Boston, and then after the Boston thing, we got a transfer to Southfield, Michigan, just outside Detroit, and that's where my wife ended up moving back to after Scotland in Detroit. So we're in downtown Detroit for 3 years. Brilliant city, I have to say. Big up Detroit. I know it's probably it's funny. It was like, oh, you lived in Detroit? Oh, was that okay? I'm like, yeah, it was actually amazing. Totally gentrified the whole downtown area. So many good bars and restaurants. Just a severe lack of Everton supporters clubs. But apart from that, top city. And then obviously during the pandemic, we kind of got a bit cabin fever in our 600 square foot apartment. So we decided to up sticks to just 2 hours north of Detroit. So in the thumb of Michigan. So in a place called Elkton. So
is there anything predictable about you at all? You're like, oh, I met my wife in Thailand. Oh, yeah, I saw that coming too. Yeah, it's everything is like, I'm like, I feel like you're gonna stand up and actually be like 7.5 feet tall because you're like so small in the frame. I'm like, he's actually enormous. That's the only way you can surprise me right now. It's just.
I would love that, but unfortunately, I'm 5'7". There you go.
Well, then that part we can actually see coming, but nothing else. It's yeah. And actually, when you take off your beard, that's clearly strapped around your ears.
Yeah,
totally yeah. So you're an Everton supporter from way back since you were a wee fella. You've already given us your Everton story. Let's just go through a few things, just basic Everton preferences, because I do this with people the first time they come on. What's been your favorite Everton moment?
Oh, in recent times, probably the 2-0 at Anfield. Favorite Everton moment? The FA Cup 95 win. That was pretty huge. And fair enough, I was only 10 at the time. So I really don't remember it, but I just remember being in Liverpool, watching it with my granddad and my mum and stuff like that. We came down from Glasgow and we watched it on the TV, and it was just like magnificent. Sloppy game, terrible game to watch, awful against Man United. But yeah, that was fondest memory of winning a trophy, but that was the last trophy we've ever won, right? So apart from the Florida Cup, how could I forget the Florida Cup? How did I forget the Florida Cup? So yeah, actually the Florida Cup. Yeah, that's
cool. Who's your actually no, let's go to favorite goal.
James McFadden versus Charlton. When he did this obscene world-class touch that Messi would have been proud of, and just set him up for this like half volley into the top bin. Oh my, that was I think it got goal this season. I hope it got goal this season that season because that was incredible. Like
People
and
still
Fadi,
post
obviously
people
being
still post
Scottish,
that goal
yeah,
on Twitter all the time.
so good. The
Yeah.
skill and technique into that, it was incredible.
Nice.
So,
That's
yeah.
what a good choice. So who's your favorite current player?
Current player.
And I'm just going to go ahead and say everybody expects you to say Delph. So, you know.
Yes, Fabian Delph.
Yeah,
Midfield maestro. He's probably going to be our left back this season at this rate. But anyway, we'll get into that.
There's your backup. Hey,
I know, right?
I got so much depth.
Favorite current player. I mean, I got to see him in the flesh. I didn't think any Everton fan would see him in the flesh. I'm kind of inside a bit happy that he's staying. It was probably James Rodriguez. Stuff he was doing last season, even when he was available and playing, you could tell he was head and shoulders above any other player on the park in class, including the opposition players, in my opinion. Like that first game, we'd only signed Allen, Doucouré and James like maybe 48, 72 hours before, and they were all thrown in to start. And he had Tottenham players like just running amok. Yeah. Like he opened them wide open to like those crossfield balls to Digne were just absolutely outstanding. Like so right now probably him. Soft spot for Rishi. A bit calamitous last weekend against Brighton with the whole penalty thing, but yeah, I would say James at the minute.
Richie's still young.
Yeah,
very young. You know, so.
True.
And the question I always ask, who's a player, any, it could be current, could be past, player from the past that kind of matches your personality.
Matches my personality.
You know what I mean? Where you're like, yeah, that's the epitome of Bowsey Toffee Tits right there. There's Aaron Free right there. You know?
My favorite ever player is probably Tim Cahill, but if I had to compare myself to anyone apart from Fabian Delph, it would be I was a big fan of Andre Kanchelskis back in the day with his right silly tricks. I loved his skills. I loved them. And when I used to play before I snapped my ACL, I used to think I was quite a tricky sort of forward attacking player. So I'd probably say Andre Kanchelskis, probably. Nice. And he was always ballsy and audacious with his skills and stuff like that. So yeah.
Did you do your ACL when you were in the heart of playing, or when you were an adult playing, like later on, like adult league soccer?
I was 30. I just turned 30, so 6 years ago, and it was the week before. Last game of the season, week before I was traveling to Thailand, which where I met my wife. Doctors advised me not to go. But hey, glad I did now, right? I got a wife out of it.
Yeah, hey. Doctors, schmoctors. What do they know?
And then, of course, the first night in Bangkok, I end up losing my crutches. So I was literally hobbling about the rest of the 2-week holiday without any crutches. So yeah, that's the way it goes.
See, that'd been me.
Something out of The Hangover.
After I did my ACL, I had just watched my knee bend sideways. Oh, yeah. Okay, and as I was jogging to the sideline trying to jog it off because I'm a genius, it kind of did the same thing and tried to go again. So imagine me hobbling around Thailand like that. Like I can't even fathom. I snapped mine. Just
my knee was like that size the whole time. Yeah, it was within like maybe 30 seconds of the kickoff as well, and I tried to do like a little Cruyff turn on the side of the wing. It wasn't even a bad tackle. Just my studs got caught in the ground. My top of my knee went one way, the bottom of my knee went the other. Dislocation as well as a tear, so it was bad.
Sucks. I'm sorry.
Bad. So that was pretty heartbreaking. Hey, we can relate. So
yeah,
it's tough.
Yeah. And so I was playing in a bunch of leagues, but you know what I wasn't doing now? I wasn't like keeping in shape to play soccer. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't doing any like I was just playing soccer to keep in shape instead of and so the muscles around my knee is probably the reason why I got hurt. I wasn't strengthening like ever. So
yeah, I'm not a gym fan at all. I used to run 10Ks, 5Ks, and stuff like that, and I played football 3-4 times a week, so I was pretty fit back then. And then moving to America, you know,
our portions are huge,
sizes, man.
That's, you know, so do you want the large, the extra large, or the super? You're like, wait a minute. The large is the small? Yeah, that's the smallest size, but it's a large. What are we even anymore? Oh my God. So very cool. Well, gotta be honest, dude. I feel like I can just sit here and chat just random life stuff for another couple hours, but we should move on. We have a show to do.
Yes, indeed.
We need to. So that's my first card. So we're gonna talk transfer window. We're gonna talk Brighton, and then we have mailbag. We actually really quick. We need to address this really fast, really quickly. We have more questions than normal from the mailbag. Okay, so just so everybody knows, Aaron sent me a message saying, "Hey, I'm going to get my sister to tweet out and try to get us some questions and see what happens." And I'm like, okay, cool. Your sister, awesome. Of course, more people that tweeted are going to get us more questions, right? And I'm not using my full mind brain here. And so then Toffee Blues John is just like, did you see who just tweeted about our show?
It pays to have a famous sister, that's for sure.
So can you explain a little bit about your sister and the fact that she's kind of a big deal, folks? So
yeah, she has just really killed it recently. She is super proud. She's now like one of the early morning breakfast show hosts for Radio 1, which is the UK's top like radio station, as well as a bunch of TV stuff, podcast stuff for Love Island, and yeah, she's also a DJ. She's pretty much living my younger dreams of DJing Ibiza and all these crazy places, Croatia and stuff like that. So
my
yeah,
God.
she's killing it. She's killing it at the minute. So yeah, super proud, brother. Love you, sis. Thanks for doing that. You didn't have to, but thank you. So yeah, no, yeah, she's pretty famous. She was also in Harry Potter, which is
what
like, crazy.
What?
Yeah.
Hold on, say that.
She was in Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire.
Okay. Sorry, that's just what did she do in it? What is she in Harry Potter?
I don't know if you're familiar with the films, the books, or whatnot, but she was one of the Beauxbaton girls from the Triwizard Tournament. You know, the French schoolgirls that come over, and yeah, she was filming for like 6 months, I think, or something. She took me and my youngest sister down to the studio. We got to meet a ton of the actors and stuff like that. Everyone bar Emma Watson and Daniel Radcliffe. We got to meet like the Weasley twins, Ron Weasley, as well. Jason Isaacs, who played Lucius Malfoy, like Draco Malfoy's dad. He was so nice. I couldn't put it was. Yeah, that was just brilliant. So yeah,
dude, I would bring my family in here if they weren't like if I weren't trying to get the boys to sleep right now. They would flip out if they knew. It's crazy. Very cool. That is so awesome. Yes. Yeah, you should be proud of your sis. That's awesome.
Thank you, Ariel Free. Yep.
Hey, younger or older?
She's a year younger than me. So
right on.
Yep.
Jeez. That's very cool. Thank you. Yes. That's awesome. I know you didn't do it for me. I know you did it for bro, but I'll take it anyway. Thank you. That's awesome. Very cool. So we'll reap the benefits of we'll rake in the questions that
indeed.
gathered. Yes. We'll check those out later. So everybody, that's a thing. But we're gonna start with transfer window. Aaron, there's a lot of feelings. A lot of feelings after this transfer window. Do you have feelings, or are you hardened to the point where you're like, nah, I don't have it?
Yeah. I mean, I'm a bit despondent, really. I think from the very beginning of the window, Denzel Dumfries, right back. To the very end, Luis Diaz from Porto. It's just been like, and I got to the point where just like, has any of these rumours actually been real? Like, were we actually after these players? The
Yes.
Denzel Dumfries thing, it almost sounds like the Gabriel situation before he signed for Arsenal. Had him in the bag last January, and then COVID hit and everything changed, and he signed for Arsenal. And well, would have been a solid acquisition at centre back, but then we got Ben Godfrey, right? So not a bad replacement. So yeah, it's been really. We have been restricted by financial fair play. There's loads of data out there that shows us why we're so restricted, and it's our past failings really down to that. We've obviously broke ground in the new stadium. That's going to be costly as well. So it might have been just a summer of not trying to make those mistakes again, but also trying to stay within the financial fair play regulations, which seems to apply only to us and no other team in that league. But I could go on all night with that.
Yeah.
Like I said, do we need better lawyers? But yes.
Yeah, really. I mean, let's be honest. We have one of the only times we're one of the only clubs that had a player get suspended for simulation from a referee. Yet you've seen numerous other players and clubs do it and receive nothing. So but you know what? That was a long time ago. To be fair, what you're talking about is very recent.
Yes.
I mean, so just rattling off a few things. All right. We bring in 2 new keepers. We got Begovic and Lonergan.
Yep.
Brought in Damari Gray, Andros Townsend, and Salomon Rondon. Outgoings. By the way, that was the first Venezuelan Evertonian. So that's friggin' cool. Apparently.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty cool actually.
So outgoings, we let Nkunku go because depth. What now?
It makes the Thierry Small situation now a tougher pill to swallow.
Yes,
because he moved on the fact that he thought Nkunku was ahead of him, right? As well as Digne. No one's really going to replace Digne, but at least for the cup games when they've got more condensed schedules, like there's going to be times when Nkunku would have played, like he played against Huddersfield.
Yep.
I don't quite understand it. I think it'll be great for his development. I think there's something severely lacking with our under-23 squad at the minute. I think I touched on this in probably one of my questions a couple months ago, but I just think there needs to be a bit of an overhaul to our academy, because we're really not developing players. It seems like we're just so focused on winning the under-23 league, which shouldn't be the case. But I have a feeling we're going to see more under-23s brought in. We're already seeing Kyle John, who's a right back for the under-20s. He's already training with the first team, so at least they're thinking. And the right back situation, but I'll get into that in a second. But anyway, at least they're thinking that if John Joe Kenny isn't up for it, which I don't believe he is, you could probably test out Kyle John at least at right back, which it's from what I'm seeing or hearing that he's pretty solid, a pretty good right back.
I also heard that Rafa was really impressed when Koeman was here and DCL played right back.
So. Yes. We've got plenty right back cover now, don't we? We've got so many players now.
You know, we got Iwobi and we got Tom Davies. All these guys played Godfrey. Right back. And, you know, they've all played right back. You know, Holgate, we got this covered, man. Now, to be fair, man, this right back situation came out of nowhere, right? We had no idea
4 or 5 years ago. I know.
Yeah, we didn't know we needed squad depth, or that definitely wasn't a problem last season. Just, I mean, we let Moise Kean go. We made a little bit of money on him, assuming he fulfills the all the different I guess there was little things that he has to barriers in order to be able to make sure we make that money back. João Virginia is probably may be gone. He's on loan with an option to buy. Who knows? It's Sporting, I think.
Yeah, that was
Nathangelo Marcelo is gone. Broadhead is on loan. Lewis Gibson's on loan. Beningame, Bernard is gone. Bolassi's gone. Josh King is gone. Walcott's gone. A lot of players went out the door.
For free.
Yeah.
I think that's the key word, is they were let go for free. So there was really no sell-on value from the majority of those Walsh.
We're saving money on wages. It's not a,
which is obviously beneficial in the long term, but not for the short term.
So,
I think the right back situation is, I mean, it has been 4 or 5 years. When Seamus broke his leg playing for Ireland, and I think we were left with Cuco Martina, who was a free from Southampton, and he was just, it was almost like Jibril Sidibe version 2.5. It wasn't the best.
And you remember what happened there, though, too, right? Because we had no left back either. So Cuco Martina went to left back. And I guess John Joe Kenny was playing right back. And that was our defense.
Wow.
Yeah, it was. And you hated it because Cuco, for the most part, defended all right. But when he got forward, watching him get ready to cross it left-footed, pull it back, and take that time to use his right. It was heartbreaking. My gosh.
It was pretty grim. Grim.
But another thing that you mentioned earlier in the show, though, James stays. Stays. And, I mean, heck, there's still, so far, because there's still rumors that he may go to another country whose window is still open.
I'm just not going to believe any rumor that's going about on the Twitterverse these days. But he's here. He's with us. And, I mean, I would be intrigued to know what the conversation, or at least a fly in the wall, that Rafa and him had very early on in pre-season, just to kind of understand where his head was at. Because, I mean, the rumours that George Mendes was throwing him about left, right and centre to other clubs, but then I think in the last 48 hours, George Mendes' focus was purely getting Ronaldo back to Manchester United. So you never know. But and then there was all this chat that we were using him as a make weight to get Luis Diaz, but Porto didn't want to pay his wages. So I don't know what to believe personally, but I personally am glad that he's staying, because we have added Damari Gray and Townsend, who I'll get on in a second. But I do think when he is available, he should play, even if it's a substitute. He still has that ability to unlock the defenses. Crazy range of passing skills. His hold-up play is unbelievable. His touch, he's got a decent shot on him too. So look, I'm happy. I'm glad that the fans will be able to see him. And on Orlando, because we're playing Millonarios, and the Colombian fans were just going absolutely bananas every time he got the ball. Like when he came out, he came over and like applauded them and stuff like that. It was class. And he's a superstar, right? He is a global superstar. So
yes,
I'm glad he's staying.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still really curious what in the world's going on between him and Rafa. I feel like we are left, and it's, I guess it's probably the way it should be. We're just left in the dark about exactly what the situation is going to be, and we don't know if he's planning on just not giving him minutes, or planning on planning on saying, "Hey man, you get with my system and you can play. Get on board and buy in, you can play." But the thing is, does he seem like the kind of guy who's going to put in the work rate on the defensive side? Because watching us play against Brighton, and we'll get into this later, but we put on some pressure and we created turnovers with work rate, and James is not that guy.
No.
And I feel like that's one of the big disconnects here, because he's old school number 10. He's old school. New number 10s work.
He's a trequartista. I mean, he's the old school number 10, as you put it. I think there seems to be something that's boiled over from the Madrid days. I don't know what, because he didn't play him in Madrid as well, right? So this, I don't know. But to me, I always think if you're going to a new club, everyone deserves a fresh start, right? So, and it looked like he came back to pre-season. He was working hard. He went to Orlando with the team and stuff like that. I don't know. I think you're right. It's probably about his attitude and whether or not he wants to buy into it and work harder as a team player.
Because if you're not getting buy-in as a manager or a coach, you're not getting buy-in from everybody.
Yeah.
And then you let somebody slide. That's tough.
Imagine he let someone slide in a full house at Goodison Park. The fans won't. You know what I mean? The fans won't let him get away with it. I mean,
that's
so,
nope. Nope. Yeah, it's tough because like I said, I mean, I've got, my kid plays number 10. You know what I mean? My oldest plays number 10. My youngest is training at the center mid position right now. I had no idea what was going to happen. I thought he was going to be a striker, and they've started playing him center mid. I had no idea, and so we watch James videos together. We watch his creativity. We watch his touch. Which is his shot is. I mean, he can place a ball in a corner with either foot. But at the same time, I don't show them like, hey, watch him off the ball when the other team has it.
Exactly.
I don't do that because I don't think I don't think there's as much to learn from him off the ball when the other team has the ball compared to someone like, I don't know, Decore, or even one of the players that we have kind of playing. It just almost everybody is putting in the work right now.
Yep. And I think Townsend, although his delivery, his end product against Brighton wasn't the best, he put in a shift. Oh my!
I watched him press from all over the place, man.
Crazy.
Yeah,
he was excellent, and might as well touch on him. I think astute signing, free transfer, just turned 30, I think, maybe. Always been decent when he's been playing for his clubs. Again, he gives us that. What we were severely lacking last season was that speed and directness.
Yeah.
Like when we get the ball back, we cover the ball back. We were so lethargic in our play
transition
going forward.
Took us a while. Yeah.
Him and Gray have been an absolute breath of fresh air.
Yep.
Just want to attack, want to get the ball, run at defenders. I have to say, like, bargain as well as 1.7 million for Demarai Gray. That's looking to be a steal already. So I think he has had a point to prove. I think Brendan Rodgers didn't really fancy him at Leicester, but he has all the talent. He had all the talent at Birmingham. Things didn't really work out in Germany. I think he scored in his first game, I believe, but
he did.
And then after that, it was just, I think he played maybe nine times more. But I think he's got a point to prove, and you can see like the energy and that speed that he's been a great acquisition, I have to say. Really impressed, and he's probably going to be a fan favorite in the next month or two.
He's putting the ball in the net. He's scoring goals, and he's actually that's the thing. He's making those runs, and he's clinically putting it in corners. It's just
exactly
been really fun to watch. He's a player that's been, and I feel like he's been a really good investment. Townsend is the one where it's tough because he's really good energy in the locker room, it seems. He has a lot of positive things to say about the club. He seems like he's the kind of guy who will, do all the hard work. But at the same time, I think about, like, I've got some, we all have some Everton fans that don't really like when a manager goes back for their former players, and they're kind of like, oh, really? We've got some Toffee Blues buddies who don't really fancy those kind of signings, and it's weird because and here's the deal: are we going to be saying the same thing at the end of the season? It's a great question because I don't know. Are we going to say yes, that was a great idea, or are we going to be saying, you know what, those first few games he was awesome? You know what I mean? It's hard to say because but Demarai Gray as young, he's decently young. You know what I mean? He's an investment, and he's gonna. I think it's pretty clear he's gonna increase the value.
100%. I think he's already doubled his value already. I mean, it's only 3.4 million or whatever, but still, he's looked great. He's looked sharp. I'm excited to see more of him in the coming weeks for sure.
Those are players who will probably get some starts every once in a while. Damari Gray will probably get a lot of starts. Townsend, here or there, you never know.
Yeah. What will be interesting? What will be interesting to see is how Rafa uses the Iwobi, the James, and the Townsend kind of situation, because Gray and Richarlison seem to be the lefties, right? They seem to be on the left, and they're there to stay, right? It'll be interesting to see what Rafa does with those three players, because Iwobi's looked very good when he's been playing and when he's came on. So there's something's changed with the mentality. It's a breath of fresh air to see Rafa so involved in the training sessions. You know what I mean? You can see he's just like just as all his hands flailing about. He's actually which is nice, and I think that the players are really warming to him and taking his ideas to. Yeah. So I think everyone was skeptical at the start when he was appointed, but rightly so. But it's you can't argue with it if the results keep going the way they're going. So he's doing a decent job so far. So
he comes in here. Comes in here and works the way he has. Continues that as a positive attitude toward the supporters, and clearly is doing everything he can for the club. I got to respect that. I don't know if I'm ready to chant his name yet, but I think I he's the manager, you know what I mean? And he's winning games for us. So, maybe I need to, stop being a dick. Maybe. I don't know.
Give him a chance. Yes! To be honest, I was like to my friends, like WhatsApp one. I was like, "Oh my god, we're putting Rafa worst day as an Evertonian ever." and then something happened a week later, which we're not legally allowed to talk about. But that was the worst day to be an Everton fan. But anyway, anyway, so moving on. Sorry.
So just really quick, overall, would you say this transfer window? I wrote a question down. Wrote one damn question down about this. I'm gonna ask it, but is this an acceptable reality, or the way half of Evertonians feel, or is this unacceptable incompetence? Are we pissed off?
There's a lot of anger. I think I'm intrigued to hear what Rafa says. I hope the right questions are asked in his next press conference, and not, are you excited about Ronaldo coming back to join Man United?
What is that?
all
what
about?
Is
Come
that?
On, I know. So they need to ask the right questions. Rafa, I don't know if he's going to be angry. I kind of feel sorry for him. Because they went after all these players, supposedly. I think there needs to be something from the board, or the higher up brands. Someone just come out and say, this is the reality, rather than just leaving all of us second guessing.
I feel like doing that is respectful. You know what I mean? And treating us, I don't know. There's something about feeling like you're respected by the club, even though you're not being let in on every detail. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't have to be let in on every detail. I don't want to be on every detail. I'm just some dude. You know what I mean? But at the same time,
you're Jerry Gibson. What are you talking about?
But at the same time, it's a strange window, And again, I was not expecting £70,000 worth of signings. I wasn't, because I knew where we were standing, a lot of stuff, and I knew the players we were hoping to sell weren't really going to be worth a lot. But no right back stings.
Tough.
Coleman's a great player. He is a great player. And yes, we do have some backup. There are some players who could slot in and play. They're not natural right backs, though. The only natural right backs are the ones you alluded to that are, John Joe Kenny is still on the team, to be fair. He's there.
Yep.
Maybe he comes in and just kicks ass. That'd be great. Love it. I'd love him to be great. There weren't great reports from Celtic last year, though.
No, he obviously being from Glasgow, a lot of my Celtic buddies were excited at the prospect of them signing him, and it like Shane Duffy, former Evertonian legend, it didn't quite work out for them. They both got pretty bad press up there. So, and who knows? Maybe Rafa has that skill and nuances to turn a player of John Joe Kenny into I know a Philip Lam of the future.
Mm-hmm. That'd be wonderful.
Or not.
Hey, really quick before we move on,
sure.
The Rondon signing. How you feel?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it makes sense, especially after losing Moyes. Moyes really, you could tell, wasn't interested, especially after a solid season for PSG. He was always going to be play second fiddle to Dominic Calvert-Lewin. It's a certainty. As you can see with the way we've set up with the 4-4-2 and trying to get the crosses in the box and whatnot for DCL and Rishi. So, it makes sense. I think he's a solid backup. He did well for Rafa at Newcastle. Did pretty okay at West Brom. I think he banged in a fair few goals in China too. So, always willing to give him a chance. Solid backup, 31, still has a bit to play. So yeah, I think it's astute for free. So
the idea of being able, like, if we're number one, okay, injuries happen. Okay, having somebody who's going to patiently work their butt off in practice. Clearly, he does. He trains hard, right? So he's going to work hard and has the potential to get a header off a set piece late in a game when you need a goal. That'd be great to be able to bring a guy off the bench to help out, to help ease the load on the ones who normally win those, you know?
And I think he's one of the few players that has scored a hat-trick of headers in a single game.
Wow.
So, yeah.
I didn't know that. Where you been hiding that stat, man? Jesus. It's sharing my beard.
It's making beard, yeah. Did you know?
Rondon quote. It's just nuts, man. But yeah, he reminds me of the Townsend signing. He's good energy. He is good energy. You can tell he's a great guy. He is a good guy. All right. You can tell in like those nitty-gritty moments that he's a good guy. You know, you got the moment when wasn't he the one who ran into McCarthy's leg when it broke his leg? And
and he that was
and you saw his reaction and what he
felt really bad.
Yes, he seemed. I mean, he seems like a human, right? And then there's the amazing play when who is it? Right back from America.
DeAndre Yedlin.
Yedlin, yeah. Yedlin goes up for the header and he's about to fall on his head, and Rondon just twirls him around.
It's like Blades of Glory.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
I know. It was lovely. I know.
There you go, American.
9 out of 10. But yeah, that was awesome. And he's a pest. He's a real pest for defenders too.
Yeah.
Like he's really hard to mark, and
so
he seems he's a good signing. Good signing.
Yeah.
I'm happy.
And again, it's not these. This is another one that's not really investment. You know, it's for now. It's not an investment for 2-3 years down the road. This is for now. It'd be cool if it's 2 years from now. Hey, good for him. If he lasts that long, then that means he's been useful and found a place, and he's been good energy and awesome. But I think right now we're just hoping for a good backup this year.
Cool. Yes, exactly. But also hoping that DCL doesn't get injured, which happened in the Brighton game. So hopefully he's back soon. I still haven't heard the reports of when he's back, but I'm hoping he's
Hasn't
back
he had a hurt toe for like this whole time, and he's been playing with it?
Whole time. Yeah, playing with painkillers and stuff. So I mean, kudos to him. So, but yeah.
Jeez. Still banging in penalties though.
Indeed, much against Richarlison's. But yes.
Let's go to that then.
Yeah.
So Brighton segue. We got I'm not going to say spoiler alert. If you don't know the score now, I'm worried about you.
Where have you been?
Yeah, get out from that rock. Let's go. Real estate's awful under the rock, don't you know? So got a nice little 2-0 win. How'd you feel? How'd you feel about the performance, man, overall?
I have to say, look, I was nervous going into it. I think the way that Potter has got this Brighton team playing is marvelous. Actually, I think the way they play football is great. They started the season very well, 2 wins out of 2. And also he was being thrown in as one of the names that a lot of the Everton fans would have liked to have seen appointed, right? Because of the fine job he has been doing with Brighton. So going into it, I was a bit hesitant. I was a bit scared. Although going off the back of the Huddersfield game, where we were pretty poor for the majority of that game, I thought, right, we're going to bounce back. Actually, we might play okay. And Brighton had a lot of possession the first half, which was probably to be expected. Bissouma is world class.
What a player! I love.
Oh, he's so good, so good. He was just amazing. But they couldn't get any end product. They couldn't get anything in the box. Yeah. Our setup was so great. We had Townsend and Gray working back on the wings. We had Doucouré and Allen. Oh, Allen. And Holgate and Keane, who,
they played well.
The first couple of games, they made a couple of errors, but the two of them were solid. They were rock solid the whole game. So
it's great to see that.
Kudos to them. It was really good to see, and we really limited them to nothing in that first half. And it was and I think on the counter-attack play, we were awesome. And Allen's ball for Demarai Gray was just weighted, angled to perfection. And then Gray, again, speed and directness that were so missing last season, just to go straight at the defender, not even give him a chance. And then the keeper probably should have saved it.
It was closer than, It would not have surprised me if he'd have gotten that. I was I was elated when it went through, but yeah.
So that was perfect. To me, I have to say, the 25-30 minutes, I thought we grew into the game and we were a lot better, and we actually controlled a lot more of it.
Yeah.
We soaked up and just kept pressing, and it was really great to see. And then second half, Allen again with a worldie of a through ball to Seamus, just like incredible. And Seamus has been so good at doing that, like over the years, like just getting his body in front of the defender and like either getting a free kick on the side of the box, but now we're thankful it was a penalty, and it was a Stonewall penalty. And then Richarlison, Rishi, with your antics. I love the guys. I love the guy's passion. I love the fact that he said, no, I don't want to rest.
Yeah.
I've played solidly for 12 months. I don't want to rest. Like this is a kid's dream, you know what I mean, to play football, and I would just want to play. And honestly, like, serious kudos to him for that. But his antics for the penalty were pretty embarrassing.
Yeah, we haven't seen that since Morales, I think.
Yeah, that's right.
Except it went differently this time, didn't it? Why is that? Why did it go differently this time?
We have leaders now.
Boom.
Seamus was injured. I thought his knee was done, the way he was acting when he got fouled. We had Townsend, who came in. He was just blasting in his ears, like, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Come on.
Yeah.
You know it's Dom. You could see his, like, the vocals. And then all the other players start surrounding him. Then Allen had words with him. I was like, come on. And then he finally gave up. And DCL put it away with a dodgy toe. And fair play to Rishi. He ran straight over with the rest of the players and congratulated them. And I think there's footage from the side where you see DCL and Rishi have this little moment.
Yeah.
And I think, to me, it looks like Rishi's like apologising. DCL was like, "Don't worry, you've got the next one" or something. You know what I mean? So, which was nice, but still, it didn't need to get to that stage. You know what I mean? It didn't need to be that whole debacle.
Yeah, strange. It's strange because you know that they have this stuff worked out.
Yep.
You know what I mean? They have all this planned out. They know who's supposed to be taking it. And I feel like if you're Richarlison and you want to take it really bad, maybe you feel like you need a goal. Maybe you need to, you need the opportunity to, because maybe the last goal you took was in the Olympics and you skied it over, maybe. Just saying, in the gold medal game. Just hypothetical, maybe. But if you're in that point, you have that talk before the game. You don't do that during the foul, like when it's just happened. So it's a strange reaction.
Let's put this right. Say Dominic gave up the penalty, and then, as you say, Rishi skied it. You know what I mean? He would have landed himself in a lot of hot water, not only with management as players, but also all the fans too. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, man. And plus, a missed penalty like that at a time where clearly if there's a little discord in the opposition, that's momentum for the other team, man. That is huge momentum for the other team, and they're at home.
I know.
So that could have gone really wrong.
But way to add more pressure to Dom's kick as well, right? Surely he's like, "Oh no, I've got to score this now, right?" You know what I mean? It's like, it was unnecessary. It was unnecessary.
But worked out. And again, like we said earlier, Richie is young. He's a young guy, very young. And he's probably got a reason, and hopefully he talked out that reason with his teammates and his coaches, and all that's clear. But let's hope we don't see a whole lot more those kinds of scenes. So anybody, we talked about who played well, right? There's a long list. Anybody stick out where you're kind of like, could have done better?
Yeah. Apart from his defensive duties on the wing, Townsend was solid. He was rock solid, but I was pretty disappointed with his end product. Every time he got forward, his crossing wasn't the best. And he's got a really good cross. He does have a really good cross. So it just wasn't working for him when he was getting back onto his left and trying to get it in. It was kind of going a bit wayward. I thought overall we were excellent. Seamus was excellent. Diaz, he's not really got into full gears yet with his crossing either. I think that needs to improve a bit because, I mean, he's one of the best left backs in Europe, in my opinion, and has those crazy assists like from last season, and the season before. So yeah, I think he's a bit rusty after a bit of a break after the Euros, but no, I think overall we were generally brilliant. And then yep.
Oh, sorry, I had a question about Dean real quick. So Luca Dean under Ancelotti got forward often. Often, made those crosses often. We've got like an attack now though that is playing direct. Is there less of a need for Luca Dean to be getting forward as much as he did in the past, or is this one of those things where it's going to right itself and he's going to be more active on the attacks moving forward?
It depends on the system. I think with the 4-4-2 that Rafa's been deploying, you're seeing that it's almost Gray and Rishi are doing that overlap on the left
exactly
side instead of Digne. You know what I mean? Yeah. So Digne's kind of been sitting back more than he's used to. Still getting forward on the odd occasion, but not as frequent. And I think it's just the way that Rafa's kind of set up the team more than anything. I think, I mean, there'll be opportunities going forward if we change our system and whatnot. But yeah, it looks to me the way they've set up has probably just hindered that attacking threat from him. He's still on corners because he's still got good whip in him. So yeah, that's probably my opinion of probably why it's not going forward as much.
See, I had the similar thoughts, but I wanted to get your I don't like to blab. I don't like to blab because then, because you know what, though, man? I may be wrong when I say it, and you're like, well, Gerry, we talked earlier about how you may be stupid sometimes, but this is one of those, okay?
Yes.
So, okay. Any other thoughts on that one? Because actually, not a bad win, dude. Not a bad win at all.
I thought we were excellent. I know exactly, and that's key. And I think someone had highlighted on Twitter that those were the type of games we'd lose, right? When we're so dominant, but we'd lose, especially last season.
Or give up
Maybe
a
not
dumb
away.
draw. You know what I mean? A dumb late draw.
Exactly. So, not really pleased. I do want to touch on a slight cameo performance from Alex Iwobi when he came on. I thought he was excellent. There was this like 1-2 touch play on the left wing between him, Damari, Rishi. It was like something out of like Brazil School of Soccer. It was insane. Like it was amazing. It was really good to see.
Yeah. I'm a sucker for when a player is getting blasted by fans and finds their way back. I am a sucker for that. I will pull so hard for them.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I don't know what it is, but it just give me a clawback story. I am on it.
And I have to say, against Millonarios, he was awful. He was awful. And he was getting dogs abuse, absolute dogs abuse from the fans. It was very funny. So I'm glad he's turned a corner for the actual like proper games. But yeah, it was funny.
Yeah, James is getting all that. Look at what's happening right now. All right, so I guess that's it for the Brighton review. Not bad. Good stuff.
Good result.
All right. Mailbag, and this is going to have to be. I told Aaron earlier, we're going to have to go in like ludicrous speed to be able to get all these questions in, because often we have like 11,000 questions, and it's just there's so many. We're going to have to go super fast. So, starting with one half of the brothers McAllister, Terry, who I'm just going to say right now, Terry had a rough week on the Twitter, voicing his opinion about transfers. Terry, I love you. Don't let him get you down. But he did get a big W in another Twitter argument that he had. Just go on his timeline and you'll see. Just the guy's just getting into Twitter kerfuffles left and right. Anyway, so Terry asked, do you think we will look back at this summer as when the current administration grew up and took a step back before taking a step forward? Or do you think we will look back at it as the summer where the party finished and we accepted being outside of the elite, so we stopped trying?
Wow. That's
Terry.
Two very good questions in one.
Terry, very good.
Tricky.
This is juicy. Good job, Terry.
Yeah, this is a thinker for sure. I just want to allude to a comment earlier that I think there needs to be more said from the board or brands or something with regards to what's going on this summer, because we're still left in the dark. If we're constrained by the FFP rules, then so be it. Rafa's alluded to it on a few of his press conferences, but yeah, I think we're suffering for past mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about growing up. We still went for a good few players that didn't seem to materialise, and I don't know why. For example, Nathan Patterson, Dumfries. I mean, Dumfries probably had champions of Italy or Everton. I mean, so I mean, not against anything against Everton, but yeah, and then the Luis Diaz situation, which seemed a bit farcical also. But I think if we were constrained by the FFP rules, which was alluded, then we really weren't able to do much in terms of anything, by the sounds of it, without getting a serious fine. So yes, I do think the party finished somewhat this season, but I'm hoping that maybe next season, when we have a bit more flexibility in cash, that we can get some solid acquisitions in. But again, just to touch on, we have just broken ground on a massive new stadium. it's going to cost a chunk of money. So, yeah, no, that's a really good question, Terry. I think, yeah, I think it's a culmination of past failings and financial fair play difficulties.
So it's interesting. It's like, do you feel like this is taking a step backward to step forward, or do you think it's taking a step backward into the zone behind the top six? And I got to be honest, I'm like Mr. Optimistic. So I would love to say that this is a step backward in order to attempt a step forward. That's what I am saying.
Yeah.
However, I will say this: realism tends to tell me that the truth is often somewhere in between, right? So the idea of taking a step backward, I don't know if we're going to step straight in to that top. I don't know. Often it's you step close, or maybe you get closer. You know what I mean? So
you're sounding like a true Everton fan with a bit of pessimism here.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like my normal like personality is very optimistic, but at the same time, I also know that football's hard. It's friggin' hard. Running a club is hard. So I'm not one of those who likes to sit there and say that the moves the club makes are hey, this is black and white. I'm aware that I don't know a lot compared to the Everton Bronze and all those people. But at the same time, I think there's attempts. I think there's an attempt to take a step back, to take a step forward in the future. I don't think they are conceding the top six with this move. I do not think that's what this is.
Someone posted on Twitter, I can't remember who it was, but basically it was like straight after the transfer window closed, and they listed out all of our first team squad. And apart from maybe the lack of cover on the right and left back positions, it's a solid team. It's actually a good spine, a good team. Like, I think the best thing that Carlo probably ever done was convince Brands and the board to fork out 25 million for a 30-year-old in Allen, who has been exceptional at the start of the season. So I think we've still got a solid team. We've still got a solid base, but you're right. I think we've had to take a step back, and then hopefully next summer, maybe even January, you never know, we have a bit more funds. We freed up a bit more funds where we can go out and get the acquisitions that we need. So
yeah, right on. So Terry, tricky question.
Yeah, that was a tough one. Tough start.
Okay, Dave Barlow asks, should Everton have a TV channel? Surely there's enough content, even if it cycles through hourly repeats, and focus on one player a day and other content.
I mean, they do have like Everton TV if you're a member, which I'm an international member. Actually, I've still got my
I have mine
bag.
too. Yeah. I have mine in the other room. I use it for my medicines. I'm 90 years old, and I keep ibuprofen and Tylenol and my prescriptions in there.
Brilliant. That's the Everton way. Gives you a headache.
Is it? Thank God. I thought that was just the getting older way. That's what I thought. That was just, yeah. So it depends on what you mean by TV. That's a good. Yeah. That's the thing, because there clearly is enough for like streaming content, right? But if you're talking about an actual channel that you would get like on a service or whatnot, like, then I would say that I don't know, man. It's tough. It's tough because you know what you would need? You would need some actual, genuine, all or nothing type material coming out of the club to really sink your teeth into that kind of stuff. Yeah. Following along with the season. You'd need that.
Yeah, it'd be tricky. And like you look at the bigger clubs, I'm saying bigger clubs, but like Man United, I know, have their own TV channel. I think
Mhm.
Arsenal have their own TV channel, but I'm not sure many people would be watching that these days. So like, but yeah, it's I see the benefits in it. I understand the fans' needs to kind of, I don't know, just be involved, have that kind of involvement with the club
Mhm.
constantly. Like for example, the Florida Cup, the coverage during the Florida Cup was amazing. There was something
Mhm.
posted every day. There was interviews with the players. There was
Mhm.
training. Like it was great, and it was just for a week. So maybe that's made some Everton fans thirsty for more. I want more. So yeah, it's
Is
yeah.
that an accent? Was that? You're like, is that your American accent? I
Yeah,
want
but
more.
it's terrible. It's awful. Don't even ask
I'm
me to do
proud of
one.
you. That was good. That was great. But if my accent sounded as cool as yours, I would never try to talk like me.
That's it. I'm
Ever.
never going to change. I'm never going to change my accent.
um, so I will say this. You know
Hmm.
what would be rad? Just super amazing if they had like those stories of seasons, like one of those compilation DVDs that you
Yep.
would have,
Hmm.
like the season of blah blah blah, and
Hmm.
just they would play stuff like Howard's Way on there. They would play those stories of seasons on there. They would have modern content. They would have profiles of players. They would have profiles of coaches. I mean, I'm telling you, as somebody who creates content for a pest
Hmm.
control company, okay,
Yep.
I've had to be creative for pest control, and I've started to get into actual like storytelling for soccer teams. And I got to tell
Yes.
you, yes, yes, you could do it, and yes, people would watch it. I'm one of them,
100%.
right? But it's hard to get that thing off the ground, that kind of thing off the
Yep.
ground. But would there be interest enough to create the content? Yep, absolutely. And you could even do some of like, I mean, think about the different shows where you could have people coming in and like a group sitting there, like just talking about, how much fan content that is out there right now for Everton. There's a ton.
Judging by Twitter, judging by my newfound love of all things Everton Twitter, yes, there's a
And
ton
then,
of content on there. Yeah.
yes, there's tons of fan generated content, and
Hmm.
there's a lot of really smart, talented people being a part of it.
Yep.
And to be honest with you, you have that kind of thing, and they can handle themselves. This is not Arsenal Fan TV. Okay.
Hmm.
The people in a lot of these shows, sorry, that's just it's cartoonish,
It's
man. It
it's
is
com-
it,
it is comedy gold.
yes. Good for them for caring that much about their team. And they too put work into what they're doing. So,
Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
will say the Everton content usually takes it a different way,
Yeah.
and these people handle themselves, conduct themselves well, and they would represent the club well, I think,
Hmm.
So said that, number one, I think it'd be really hard to get somebody to do it. But number two,
Yeah.
I think it would get more people caring about Everton, and it would bring in new fans.
Absolutely, and I think our fan base has probably increased exponentially in the South Americans. So yeah, I think there would be some view like content definitely.
Get
So
Alejandro shouting out from the Toffee Blues, Espanol, Alejandro, dude, you need to do our Spanish content for the Everton channel. Just saying.
absolutely.
Yes. All right. So anyway, let's move on. We're not going fast enough. We
Sorry.
talk. I enjoy your company too much. So Mark asks, who his at 80s EFC is the Twitter handle.
Mhm.
Are there any good young American players in the MLS that we should look out for?
I'm gonna
Okay.
have to be
I'll,
brutally honest here.
I, I,
I don't
I,
really follow the MLS much. Sorry.
okay. I'll tell you right now. Yes, there are. There are
Right.
a lot of really good young MLS players out there. And the really good ones are now in the process of being sold to European teams. That is happening right now. It is MLS has finally embraced its role
Yeah.
and finally understood that getting these young players into Europe and playing for these leagues is good for the league, good for the soccer culture in America.
Absolutely. Couldn't
There's
agree
some
more.
great young talent going out. Okay. Now, eventually, I don't know if they're Premier League ready though. I don't know. Premier League's a weird league, man. It's physical as hell. But I will say this about the American system that churns out players. Okay, the one thing they have is physicality. Usually, the high school and college game is physical. Typically, though, there's some like there's a lot. There's not as many good tactical coaches when it comes to the college game as you would hope. All right. There's some great ones. Bobby Muse at Wake Forest is tactical genius. Sadly, he's a Red, but I'm just saying it's gorgeous football, and his players come out there pro ready. It's awesome. Okay. But yeah, man, it's just that's the thing. You like sitting there interviewing all these players. They tell me all the time. They're like, you know what? Like a lot, especially ones from Spain. They're like, you know what? I wish the American game wasn't as physical. I wish it was more tactical. You know what I mean? And so it's interesting, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, the physical players usually can't handle the tactics of Premier League, and the tactical ones from America usually can't handle the physicality of Premier League. So let them cut their teeth in these other leagues, right?
Yeah, and you're probably right. It's probably down to the coaching, but look at Pulisic and what Tuchel did with Pulisic at Dortmund, and then now obviously back in Chelsea again. So,
yeah. Well, Pulisic is a little bit of a rarity because of his parents. His parents both soccer players, and he actually trained. I feel like he trained in England when he was really little, and it's just
and then he moved to Connecticut.
He's been all over. He's been all over. But he went to Germany early, and that's the thing. Gio Reyna went over to Germany pretty early after he'd been in the NYCFC academy, and his dad, as GM of NYCFC, sold him. Got his son, got his son a deal to go to Dortmund, and then he left and went to Austin.
Would that be Rangers legend Claudio Reyna?
Yes, absolutely. So honestly, if I get specific about some of these players, to be honest with you, it's not. Yeah, there's. Sorry, go ahead.
No, my national team knowledge. Okay, we've got Daryl Dike, who bossed the championship with Barnsley. He was awesome, right? We've got Hopper at Schalke as well, who Everton was supposedly sniffing around him also. You've got Reyna, Pulisic, Dest from Barcelona, who's like incredible, right back for Barcelona as well, and the US national team too. So I think it sounds like the US men's team is definitely going in the right direction at the minute. So
yeah, okay. So one fantastic young player I'm going to mention by name that almost got sold to Europe, to Benfica, I think. Cole Bassett. There you go. Cole Bassett from Colorado Rapids. Good young player. Decided to stay in Colorado to finish out the season, but in the winter window, he's going to be gone. Okay?
Wow.
Look out for him. That's a player going to Europe, and there's tons of them. Okay? But I don't know that they're Premier League ready. You just need to be aware. All right? That's for everybody else out there. Aaron knows, but everybody else out there, just know there's talent coming through. It's good. It just usually needs a buffer between MLS and Premier League.
A bit of work, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, thanks for enlightening me.
Hey, man, that's one of the things I actually know about right now. So, all right. So, Kyle at Kyle Everton. It's one word. Kyle Everton. Kyle Everton. It's good. It's good. I like it. Favorite American Evertonian? I'm assuming players. Otherwise, we all just say Aaron Free.
Bowsey Toffee Tits.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, that's a tough one. Okay, so I'm going to say, right, for the 2 loan periods that we had, Landon Donovan, he was incredible. I loved him playing for us. Having said that, I think there's really only one winner in my eyes, and that's the general, Tim Howard.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Preki.
Brian McBride. No.
I thought about Brian McBride. I love McBride.
No. Did you?
Yes.
I think he was better for Fulham than he was for us, but
he was.
Yeah. So in the Florida Cup, Orlando, obviously Tim Howard made a guest appearance at the tailgate. The tailgate that was hosted by the Orlando Evertonians, and I got to shake the general's hand, and he was just so awesome. And he signed the back of my Seafoam James shirt as well.
Sweet.
I haven't washed his hand for about a month and a half too. So yeah.
Oh,
no,
so
a big fan. And
that's
he
what
obviously. Actually, I don't think I've taken this Everton FC bangle off since Orlando as well. But anyway,
Nice.
So in terms of, but he was also a great goalkeeper for us too. So
Yeah.
And a great ambassador for the club. I have no idea how he had the energy, the legs to do that whole weekend in Orlando, because he was everywhere. So like he's a real true ambassador for our amazing People's Club in the US. So I'd have to say Tim Howard.
That's my answer too. Yeah. I don't even know what else to add to that. I mean, he brought so many Evertonians, like Americans, to pull for Everton. Like he was a big reason. He put a lot of focus on Everton for Americans because they watched Tim Howard just ace it in the World Cup and sit there and stop like 30 shots in a game. And then they're like, oh, what team does Tim Howard play for? Oh, that's Everton. Oh, you know what I mean? That was a big thing. Plus, I mean, he's a player that played for us for a long time in a really important position, and he loved it. I got no other answer.
He was solid. He was a great keeper. Really good keeper.
All right. Next question. At Timothy Jones asks, are we going to take any points off the so-called Big Six? Will financial fair play forever hold us back? I'm going to say yes and yes. I know.
There's the pessimist in you.
We are absolutely going to take some points off.
Yes, we'll definitely take. If he's referring to Arsenal, that's a 6-pointer right there. Chelsea and City, I don't think so. Man United are a bit flaky. If they had a proper coach, proper good manager, I think we'd probably win the league with that team. Leicester are really good, but we exposed them last season in the second game. Tottenham, again, they're in a new management. They've made a decent start to the season. I don't know. That's probably hit or miss, that one. But I definitely think there's points to be taken off the so-called Big Six. So, and as for the situation, I don't think it's going. Yeah, I think going back to Terry's, it's maybe a step backwards to go step forward. So maybe we're keeping within the regulations this season. So next season we can waste another 120 million on players that won't have resale value in the future.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I didn't mean it's going to hold us back and have us be the worst. I'm just saying I think it's going to be a problem. That's all. I wasn't trying to be the fly in the ointment. Just be aware that flies may land in the ointment. Just saying. All right. That's all. All right. So next question is your buddy and mine, Jake Holton,
my boy,
who was unable to do shows for a little while because of Fight Club, but I can't talk about it. All right. It's Fight Camp, not Fight Club.
You just did. You just talked about it.
Shit. I always do this. And I always have to apologize to them every time. Wait a minute. I mean, to nobody.
I don't even know what you just said.
What? Yeah. Indeed. His name is Robert Paulson. All right. So Jake asks, the transfer window is done and dusted. Obviously not a great window, but time to get to work with what we have. All that said, what's a realistic finish for Everton this season with the team they have? And I'll hang up and listen. It's nice of it. So where are we going to finish, dude?
Oh, how the turntables, Jake.
How the turntables.
I think a serious achievement is probably 7th. And at the minute, that's getting you into the Conference League, which is this new European style format. we might have games out in Azerbaijan and stuff like that, but at least it's European competition. It gets us some much needed European game time. I think that would be a realistic aim. I think, unfortunately, the pulling power of the teams above us, or at least the so-called teams above us that have spent hundreds of millions on players where we've been so constrained, they might just be pulling away just too much to be. And even the likes of like Villa and Leicester, they've made some really good signings and will be a threat also. Leeds are a solid team, although we probably should have beat them. I personally think we should have beat them. We deserve to beat them.
I agree.
So I think 7th would be a good aim. It would be amazing if we could get into the Europa League in 6th place. A nice little cup run wouldn't go amiss either. But I think 7th. I'm going to say.
All right. Yeah. My immediate thought was I immediately jumped to 7th. I'm going to predict 8th. No, I'm just going to say, think we'll get 8th.
Man.
But because I overshot it last year, man. I predicted 4th, and I was just a big ball of wrong. So I'm just going to say 8th, but I'm going to be super happy with 6th or 7th, which is, I don't like feeling that negative, by the way. I feel like it's negative to be ecstatic with 6th or 7th. You know what I mean? With such a big club as Everton. It feels weird. You know what I mean?
Yeah, true. And we always have such high expectations, but I think they've done it right this summer by giving us the lowest expectations possible after that transfer window. So anything above 10th is probably an achievement, right? But yeah, I agree.
So next question from I don't know if it's Odger or Odger, Andy Odger or Odger. Andy asks, if Rafa manages to win something at Everton, will all fans be comfortable with celebrating it, considering what Rafa won at Liverpool?
Yeesh. I think there's going to be a minority of fans that are never going to like Rafa, no matter what he achieves.
I agree.
Just from his past Liverpool achievements, but. Yeah, I think I can already see people are warming to him already. I think, I think the warm to him. Of course, he'll be adored if we win a cup. Of course, he'll be adored if we even make it to European competition.
For the most part. But you know, and I know, there's those Everton fans who are really all about being right. And they're going to be waiting till something bad happens to stick out that finger and do the I told you so. You know it, right? They're going to be like that. So, but yeah, there's going to be a lot of Everton fans who are just going to accept the fact that we won and be very ecstatic and be in the moment. Because that's, you know, I can see that. Yeah. Steve Beatty asks, Steve Beatty. See, this is where American pronunciation versus it may be different. So I don't know if it's Beatty.
I'm about to blow your mind.
No way.
So my actual pronunciation of Bowsey Toffee Tits is actually Bowsey Toffee Tits. But hey, I love Bowsey Toffee Tits now, so.
Bowsey sounds all like dignified. Bowsey sounds like a bad guy in a video game. That's one of the reasons why Bowsey is funny. I was like, Bowsey sounds like something you name like a mutt dog. You know what I mean? Like that just feels Bowsey sounds normal. Dang it. Crap.
Please continue with Bowsey because I love it now. I've warmed it and it's all down to you, so thank you. Sorry. We're waffling.
All right. Steve asks, are the Bills going to win the Super Bowl? Okay. That's a fantastic question, Steve. That's a great question. I'm a Panthers fan, but back in the day, there were no
course.
Panthers when I was younger. And you know who I supported back in the day? The Bills. All right.
Mm.
So I saw the Scott Norwood game where against the Giants, and it hurt. Okay. I think I cried. Young Gerry, I'm pretty certain young Gerry cried. So you know what? I'm just gonna say yes because I want to will it into happening. All right. And I say this: if you end up playing the Panthers, Jesus, that's gonna suck. But it won't happen. But the Bills have a much. I think Bills have a legit
Josh
shot.
Allen.
Yes.
Incredible quarterback, and showing his worth now. Unfortunately, having to move to Michigan, I have started to support the Everton of the NFL, which is the Detroit Lions, unfortunately. So yeah, years of disappointment and hurt. So yeah, the less said about that, the better. But
it's interesting what people call the Everton of the NFL because I've heard it being doled out to so many different teams, and I think it's just sort of I'm always fascinated to see what other teams people support besides Everton. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I think it says interesting things about their psychology. But let's think about it though. You're pulling for a team that's local, right? The Lions are local. Yep. You didn't pick the Lions because of their essence. You're like, hey, no. They're right next door, so got to pull for them, right?
Exactly.
Which, essentially is why I pull for the Panthers because it sure isn't because of their branding back in the day, or success. So your answer, Steve, is yes. Bills are going to win the Super Bowl. You heard it here first. Me and Bowsey over here just made it happen. All right, so
sounds weird now.
Yeah. Almost dirty. All right, Peter is at it's Peter, not Pete. So don't shorten it. I want to know what they thought about when Roony returned to Everton and if they considered his second spell a success. So this is maybe somebody who's not an Everton supporter asking this question. Cool, Peter. That's awesome. Do you consider it a success, man?
It's hard when you sign 4 or 5 number 10s at the same time. That summer window was insane. And Koeman got found out. But, his hat-trick against West Ham and that goal from inside his own half was
fantastic.
Wow, one of the best goals ever. Yeah. Incredible technique to do that. He scored some vital goals, penalty, a free kick. I think it was okay. And then I didn't really like his treatment under Marco Silva, which obviously pushed the DC United move. But it was strange. It was partially a success. I'm not going to say if it was a success.
I'll tell you, one of the things I liked about it the most.
What about you?
I like the fact that, I didn't get to watch Everton when I was younger, right? Mm-hmm. And so I didn't get to watch Roony when he was 16, 15, I didn't get to see that. So when he came in, it made me feel connected to that older time. I thought that was awesome. Mm-hmm. I bought the Goodison shirt, that throwback shirt, and I got Roony on the back. And I'm an adult and I did it and I'm American and we do that. Okay. So brilliant. For everybody else out there, I did it because it made me feel connected to the club and to the history. And I that was a different part of the Roony signing that was a success. I don't think you can flat out say that the on the field results were a straight up success. I think if you say that, then it's blinders, man. You know what I mean? Like it's just, I think you're right to say partial, because there were some good highlights. I think, but the managerial matchup with him and the transfers that came in with him, there was some mistakes made. So that was just a window, a portion of Everton's history that was not a success. Although, it's a bummer they had the money for it to be. So yeah, I have to sit there and
there
go
was
along
a
with you and say
nostalgic
maybe.
thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
There was a nostalgic thing for sure. He's Everton's boy wonder, right?
Yeah.
Always an Everton fan growing up. Came through the academy. Even raised his own sons to be Everton fans over Man United fans. So it was like the boy was coming home type thing, and there was always that kind of nostalgic love. Even though he played for Man United
Yeah.
and did amazing for them, but yeah, I think it was a nice welcome home, but it didn't really pan out.
Yeah. So I can't. Yeah, I think we both agree. Not 100% success, but it made me care about the guy a lot more. You
Mhm.
know, and now yeah. So I didn't hate the move. I don't hate the move in retrospect. So I'm not going to say just straight up failure. Not going to do it. But I think it would be really silly to say, oh yeah, I don't know anybody that would say that.
Yeah.
I like getting questions from somebody that's clearly not an Everton supporter. That's awesome. Johnny L 1878 asks, who thinks Rafa is doing a good job? And how do you think our new signings, Gray and Townsend, have started? I think both of us think he's doing well. And our guys, Gray and Townsend, are doing well so far too, right?
Agreed.
Good stuff.
Early days, but agreed. Yep.
Yeah. Rob at Pato 196648 asks, do you think we'll finish in the top 6? I'm going to say no. But only because of our depth.
I'm going to say no.
Okay.
Yes, agreed. Yep.
Yeah. Kyle Clayton, who is your boy, who lives in Winston-Salem, probably lives next door to me, and I didn't even know it, asks, would love to know what y'all would consider to be a successful season this year. A trophy, top 6. I think both of us, I mean, personally, I think moving forward is I think a couple of steps forward is a success. Okay, thinking about the fact that we were hamstrung, we were hamstrung with FFP, right? If we sit there and we finish with more points than last season, we're moving forward, right? For me, okay. Let me be more clear, and I'm going to say European football. That's a success for me at this stage in terms of rationality. Now, is that too small? Yeah, it's too small. We're Everton. We should be winning trophies. We should be, but at the same time, it's hard to make giant steps. That's what I'm saying. So, what about you?
Agreed. I definitely think making Europe would be a huge success. I think that is what we should be aiming for. Making a good fist of it in the cups, it would be great. If we could make even a final, that would be amazing. We don't have to necessarily win it, although it would be lovely. I just think a bit of consistency over the season. We're so complacent at home throughout the whole season. So yeah, I think top 6 may just be out of reach, but at least if we get 7th, it gets us into European competition.
Okay, Tom Brownlow asks, why oh why can't we sign a bloody right back?
Oh, that is one of life's great mysteries. Just like, what is the meaning of life, and where is the Arteta money? I couldn't tell you. Honestly, it's a failure. It's a failure from our board or whatever. But it's been a necessity for 4 years. We touched on it earlier. I don't quite understand. I don't quite understand.
Does Luka Dean have like a twin brother who's right-footed?
Louis
Dean. Let's do it. Yeah, Tom, I'll just go ahead and say it's a weird situation when you have your captain as a starter at the position you're trying to sign, and you're signing somebody who knows they're not going to start right off the bat, right? You're signing somebody for the future, and they know they're not going to come in and immediately start. it's a more of an attractive proposition for someone when it's like, hey, you're going to come in and start. We want you to be our starter. But no, you're coming in, you're going to back up Seamus Coleman, right? Who, imagine, you get to learn from. So we're not trying to pay top dollar because we're not trying to get a starter. It's a tomorrow starter. So we're trying to pay money for a tomorrow starter, somebody who can develop. So that's part of the problem, is those don't grow on trees. So it's a tough question, man.
I was surprised that Rangers didn't accept the Nathan Patterson bid. Obviously being Scottish, he is definitely a star for the future at right back. So maybe we'll go back in from in January or next summer, but he definitely seems a good prospect at the right back position. But yes, I have no idea why we haven't signed a bloody right back.
Yeah. Toffee Blues John asks, if you could get rid of 3 Moshiri era signings so that they never happened, players only, which ones?
Gelfie, Delph. I've got a bit of a soft spot for him, but he's not quite worked out. Probably Cenk Tosun.
I got a big soft spot for Cenk Tosun because you know how many Turkish fans subscribed to our channel and
really?
watched our videos.
I take it back.
It was crazy how many they are fanatical for that guy. It was awesome. Like, we got videos on a Cenk Tosun possibly coming to Everton. It was oh my gosh, it was nuts. It was like the whole country decided, hey, we're gonna watch all these videos now. It's nuts. Having said that, it's really, yeah. I'm gonna say Cenk Tosun. And I don't want to, I'm all these players I have a soft spot for, but Bowsey.
Oh, it's a shame for him as well.
Because he had the exact same ACL tear, same knee, same type of situation. And he was not playing poorly when he got hurt.
No,
he was doing okay.
No, he wasn't. He was doing all right.
Forming a partnership with Lukaku, he was doing okay, right? But yeah, that's a lot of money to eat, right? And I'm gonna have to say, I've got to say Gylfi. Yeah. And maybe the less said there, the better. So, and John has a random question. This was like a story. When I was a young teenager, I went on a family trip up to Scotland to a caravan site, Butlins, with the family. I don't even know if I said that shit right.
Right.
Food was included.
You did, actually.
Hey, and they had a restaurant which was the equivalent of prison hall food, or prison food hall. That's what he said. I had my strangest meal ever there: chicken tikka marsala pasta. 2 foods I like but merged together. It was very strange. What's the weirdest food you've ever had?
Weirdest food I've ever had. I mean, you know, I'm from Scotland, so we eat haggis, right? Do you know what haggis is?
Yes.
Pretty much everything that's inside a lamb is put in this ball with some barley and spices and whatnot. It is delicious. Don't get me wrong. It sounds grotesque, but it's actually delicious. But what's the weirdest thing? Okay. Thailand.
Oh gosh, I'm excited for this.
So we're on Khao San Road, which is that mental road in Bangkok that was filmed in The Hangover. That was like, you know, where they got the tattoos and all that stuff. And basically, they've just got like food sellers just come up to the bars you're in, and this guy had basically every single type of insect and arachnid on this board, fried. You want to eat? So I was like, sod it, I'm in Thailand, I've got to try something. So I ate a scorpion.
I knew you were going to say scorpion.
It was disgusting, to say the least. I thought I was going to be sick right there in the bar, but yeah, that is definitely the weirdest thing I've ever ate.
I had at a tapas restaurant in Asheville, I had bull's heart tacos.
Okay.
That was different. Yeah. So that's the thing that happened. I've also had, it's always tacos. It's actually a pretty normal, like in a lot of Mexican restaurants, they have tongue tacos. I have had those before too. All right.
Yeah.
Beef tongue. And that's a pretty normal thing for Mexico, but I haven't had heart before. That was something different for me. I'd forgotten that had happened. Thanks, John, for bringing that up.
Strange.
Making me.
Was it good?
It actually, to be honest with you, though, it was good. It was good. It was a good restaurant. It was good. It was just unusual. I'd never had anything like it. So, I'm usually okay with being a little adventurous, but scorpions, I draw the line. Oh my gosh. All right. So that's all. That's the show.
I'd never do that again.
That's the show. That's the show. We're done. So, Aaron, do you have anything else to say?
What a wild ride.
Yeah,
yes. Yes. Just want to say thank you, Mum, for making me the Everton fan I am today. Thank you to my sisters, Ariel, Rebecca, my little daughter Poppy, and my gorgeous wife Chelsea. And I also want to thank you guys for opening my eyes to the great toffee men and women, of the US, because it's been I'm like proud to be an American Evertonian now, you know what I mean? So yeah, it's been like just for example, when we went Orlando, I was just filming inside the Harp and Celt, just sending it to my mum. I was like, Mum, I'm so proud right now. I can't even put it in words. I'm so proud to be an Evertonian. This is just amazing. How have I only just experienced this like nearly 4 years of being in the US? You know what I mean? So yeah, so thank you guys for everything you do, representing the club, being ambassadors for the club over here, and yeah, I love the show. So thanks for having me on. Much appreciated.
One last question: Rangers or Celtic?
No. I want to say none of them. I want to say Dundee FC, but my dad's side of the family are all Celtic fans, so it's like kind of a bit of a soft spot. But gotcha. I tried to separate myself from that stuff back in the day.
Yeah, so, I had to. The reason I asked Celtic is because my youngest son Turner is infatuated. Like he's 6. He's infatuated with Celtics like kits. He's just absolutely yeah. And so now, like he demanded I put on the Old Firm Derby the other day. So we watched it. Didn't work out well for him, you know, but he totally. And of course we got him one with Gibson on the back, you know. But he loves he's a oddball. He likes the color scheme, you know. Well, and I'm like, look, you still like blue, right? And he's like, yes, I like green too, though. And I'm like, cool. None of the teams we need to worry about in Premier League are green, so that's fine. Love the green.
That's fine.
Love it all down. So yeah, he asked me. He said, "Does he like Celtic?" And I said, "I don't know. I'm gonna ask him though." So yeah, that's why I asked.
We can tell him the good news.
Yeah.
Okay. But if you ever get the chance to go over to Scotland, you need to get yourself to a Celtic game, because you will never experience an atmosphere like it. Even Lionel Messi has said it's the best stadium he's ever played in.
Wow. So good to know. Okay.
Fans are wild.
Yeah, we're on it. Very good. We're going to take my whole flipping family there. Awesome. All right, Aaron. So I'll wrap this up then. So to everybody out there who's been listening and watching, thank you very much. If you're digging what you're hearing and watching, please subscribe to the Toffee Blues YouTube channel and podcast. We'd really appreciate it. Check out the Toffee Blues on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I don't know, TikTok, or wherever the heck, social media. I don't know what John's got going on now. It could be anything. But Mammoth, I don't know. But also check out the Toffee Blues website. There's a lot of really good content out there. And watch some of our other videos. There's some really cool guys who really know what they're talking about on there. And yeah, they somehow let me on the channel. It's crazy. But yeah, that's it. Much love, everybody. Aaron, thank you so much. So freaking awesome to talk to you in person, or sort of in person.
It's been a pleasure.
In person-ish. Really,
Hopefully soon. Hopefully soon.
Yeah, we'll work that out. We'll definitely work that out. So yeah, everybody, it's like meeting some kind of mythical creature, isn't it? You got Bowsey Toffee Tits on. It's nuts. It's like, it's a wood nymph. It's just really cool. All right, everybody. So enjoy the international break. Not like you're gonna, but just pretend. Watch old Everton games and you should be fine. Get through it. Good luck. It's like watching paint dry. Much love, everybody, and we'll see you next time and we'll talk more Everton things. Aaron, take care, buddy.
Thank you. Thanks, Sue. Thanks for having us.
Everybody else, bye-bye. Much love.